Allegan Hydron of Farnborough hopes to avoid compulsory redundancies. And 100 workers at the Wilton carpet factory near Salisbury have been told they'll be put on short time in the new year.
In Andover, employees at the vehicle bodywork specialists Locomotors are preparing for the worst. A receiver moved in on Monday. He has the unenviable task of drawing up a list of who keeps their job and who faces the sack. Tomorrow morning he'll tell the 130 workers that many of them can lay down their tools for good.
It is very upsetting, but I think you can actually do it in a way which is sympathetic, so that and it is actually quite important to people to be told in that way, rather than to do it, you know, totally objectively. I look at it really from the other point of view, which is that if I succeed, I will save the jobs of the remaining people.
90 years ago, the firm made bread carts for Hovis. Ever since, it's been a market leader. Bought out by the management 6 years ago, orders fell, staff were put on a 3-day week, and the debts mounted. Eddie Small has worked here for a quarter of a century. 6 years ago, his son Ian joined as an... The family is entirely dependent on Locomotors, but both men expect to be out of a job by tomorrow night.
We'll have to cut everything down and look at our income and just cut economies wherever we can, you know, just try and survive. Yes. Just go looking, you know.
Stop going out for a beer in the evenings.
Yeah, stop having a beer, and yeah, we just have to cut everything down and cut our cloth to suit the occasion, really.
The money might be short, but there's £2.5 million of work on the order books.
4 weeks ago we had 130 people. We are now down to just over 100, and that could be cut into quite heavily still. But I'm very hopeful that if we can move quickly, if we can find the right sort of buyer or investor to help us to move this business forward, those people will still be there to come back to us.
Locomotors is the second firm in a week on this industrial estate alone to call in the receivers. Andover Trailers, with 40 staff, also succumbed to cash flow problems. Agent signs every few yards show just how hard the recession is biting, and the prospects of finding work here are bleak. Today's unemployment figures show more than 2,600 people are out of work in the Andover area. That's more than 7% of the workforce. The Job Centre found work for almost 100 people in November, but even so, another 85 joined the growing dole queue. Less than 3 years ago, Andover was regarded as a boom town. Only 660 people were out of work. That's less than 2% of the workforce. All that has now changed. Unemployment here has risen by 400% since 1990.
Well, tonight's edition of the BBC South documentary Southern Eye examines a new study by the National Institute for Economic Research. It predicts that jobless levels in the South will match those in the North by...